God, that is the awful building. I hate it.
Yeah, yeah, it's fucking scary. So this is the well house, this little brick shed with a well pump in it. We're gonna try and annex this because it's right next to camp, and it'd be useful as a bathroom or even just a storage shed. But there are more wasps in this thing than I've ever seen in my life in one place. There are enormous wasp nests on the ground that are like 6 to 8 inches across. Then I stuck my face through the door and I saw that big fucker right there. Jesus. Ah! So we're gonna hang this yellow jacket trap in there and see what happens. See how big that is?
Yeah, hate it.
All right, we're going in. I need you to see the nightmare. The nightmare that is this fucking well house.
Yeah, I'm not going in there.
Look at these nests. Whoa! Yeah, I see where the eave of the house is cracked and they're just pouring out. Ew. All right, you want to hit him?
Not really, but I will.
Ah! I had mentioned that we might have a homeless person living on the property in passing. That was confirmed. So here you see that while we were gone, this was not recently, but somebody made a fire inside the chicken house, right? So when Rob and I got out here, we noticed this car. Now, that end of the chicken house is close to the house. That's where you access the chicken house, and that's where the auto shop is. It would only make sense that if you were working on a car, you would park it in the auto shop down there. So what the hell is somebody doing parked all the way down here? Also, it was not a car I recognized. And I knew for a fact that none of us had been out here and started a fire in the damn chicken house. So after I saw all that, I got a little curious. To compound matters, you know, the house that's on this land has been broken into a couple of different times. We don't keep anything valuable in there, but that doesn't mean people haven't stolen the copper out of the walls. Doesn't mean that they weren't squatting in the house. And they were smashing up the fucking house, which pisses me off the most. They tried to jimmy the back door with a crowbar, so they messed up the back door and the frame, knocked the doorknob off with a hammer, and then busted out a big glass patio door, a big glass pane door. So regardless of what they were doing in there, they're fucking up the property. Now that we're out here, we have to deal with it and make sure that they have no incentive to come back. All right, this is my grandparents' old house, which is honestly not as bad as I thought for not having power and water for a long time, not being properly winterized. It's definitely musty, and it smells musty and moldy in here, and the carpets are wet, and there are dead animals, lots of wasps, dead bird over here. But as we were walking through the house, like a lot of the stuff is still here. This stairwell down here has a pretty bad mold or mildew issue, and so does the basement. But if you stay upstairs, it's not that bad. Here's the patio door that got smashed out. It's basically just got plywood over it now. Nature is kind of growing inside a little bit. If you come back here, you can see somebody broke in and just trashed this room, just rifled through. And this is nothing but an old sewing room. And they just trashed it, threw everything around, took all the drawers out looking for, I'm sure, money and valuables. It's pieces of shit. But all in all, the house is not as bad as I thought it was. I think if we can get it aired out, get a mold professional in here to make sure the air is safe to breathe, get the power and water turned back on, I think it'll be an okay place to stay. I think it will probably be better than the auto shop. I think that's the goal. The new goal is to try to get back into this house, at least temporarily.
That sounds like our boy.
I don't know if you can hear them or see them, but this whole fucking place is just swarming in flies. There are no dead bodies, there's no trash, there's no fecal matter. I don't understand where these flies are coming from or how they're sustaining themselves. But even just around Rob and I, as we're sitting here in lawn chairs, there are probably 200 flies. I've got fly paper, fly traps hanging around. They're just everywhere. Everywhere. And I don't understand why. So we got that car moved down from the end of the chicken house. We literally had this fantastic wrecker driver named Brian come out here, and he helped us jimmy the hood. We didn't have a key and the steering wheel was locked. So he jimmied the hood open, disconnected the, something about the transmission linkage.
Yeah.
Put the car in neutral. We all pushed the car back. We eventually got it to there. So now he's gonna bring the wrecker back this morning, hook it up and haul it off. And while he was here, not only does Brian know everybody around, so he knows my electrician, he knows a plumber that I can use, he knows a landscaping guy that I can use. He is personally willing to take off, like haul off a bunch of the scrap metal out here and pay me for it. So that's awesome. He's also getting rid of this truck, or this car. So Brian is a very helpful contact, and we're making progress.
What are you doing?
Watching you change the water jugs, and also admiring how much more organized the bus is.
Fair enough.
I still feel
Back on that, bro.
legitimately homeless,
Now you're homeless with style.
but the bus does look better. It looks a little better every day. Got a shade tarp on the outside to help reflect some of this brutal sun. I'll show you that from the outside. And we are staying hydrated. What the solar tarp looks like over the bus. It's basically just a big tent for the bus. It does a pretty good job of keeping the heat off, reflects it, but I don't know if it's, I mean, it's still hot as hell in there. But this, I think it helps. And then we really just draped it over the existing shade structure. Left a little space for bin storage over here, and I also made it connect over the top of the well house. So we've got covered access to the well house, which I'm attempting to reclaim and annex. We got most of the wasps out. We're just kind of trying to figure out how to move forward from here. It's got to get cleaned out. I mean, there's 2,000 wasp nests in here. Mud dauber nest, dirt dauber nest, whatever they are. These all have to come out. Got the front of the bus organized a little bit more like a camp. Still feel like a hobo living in a bus under a tarp with my brother next door in a tent. It's getting better every day. We're leveling up. The wrecker came back today to pick up that car, the abandoned car. Glad to see it go. I'll worry less about all the weird noises I hear at night, knowing it's gone. It's an audible nightmare. So we're under the solar tarp here next to the bus, and I've been cobbling found window screens together using Gorilla Tape and duct tape just to cover the windows so that I can leave the bus windows open without them being flooded with wasps and flies, but just to get some airflow because it's been 100 degrees or more for the last, week?
Yeah.
And it's, as far as my weather forecasting app goes, it will remain 100-degree days. So I'm just out here shrinking like a wet towel on a line.